Jungkook speaks seriously. Jimin Cries. The unsettling truth behind the mysterious woman and the storm that refuses to fade the shock was immediate, the tension almost unbearable. Why did Jungkook choose this exact moment to speak with such uncharacteristic gravity, and why did Jimin, normally composed even under the fiercest public scrutiny, break down in tears as he listened? A single image from a high-profile international fashion event has spiraled into one of the most relentless controversies in global entertainment, igniting questions that refuse to be silenced. Who is the woman captured beside Jungkook, and why did Jimin's emotional reaction transform a fleeting backstage encounter into a global spectacle? The incident, at once trivial and monumental, has forced millions to reconsider what they know about fame, privacy, and the price of adoration. But does anyone truly understand what happened, or are we all participants in a drama carefully amplified by the machinery of modern celebrity? The story begins with an image that, on its surface, appears almost mundane. Jungkook walking confidently behind the runway of an international fashion show, his every movement captured with the precision of countless lenses. Standing near him, just inside the frame of a widely circulated photograph, was an unidentified woman, elegant, poised, and unknown. There was no sign of intimacy, no visible gesture to suggest a personal connection. Yet the simple fact of proximity between the world's most closely watched artist and an anonymous figure proved explosive. Within minutes of the image appearing on social media, fan forums ignited with speculation. Within hours, hashtags surged into global trends. Within days, the woman's identity, or rather the mystery of her identity, became a topic of fevered discussion across platforms from Seoul to Sao Paulo. Why was she there? Who invited her? Was she a colleague, a friend, or something more? In the hyper-connected world of K-pop and global entertainment, proximity is never neutral. Every detail, posture, glance, even the way light fell across Jungkook's face, was dissected frame by millions hungry for answers. Some insisted the woman was a member of the fashion brand's creative team, merely fulfilling her professional duties. Others speculated about a secret relationship, citing hidden signals in Jungkook's body language or the timing of his appearance. Entire threads emerged analyzing grainy video clips slowed to fractions of a second, as if the truth might be hidden in a fleeting movement of the eyes. The more ordinary the image seemed, the more extraordinary the theories became. Jungkook remained silent as the frenzy escalated, and his silence only deepened the intrigue. In the volatile ecosystem of online fandom, silence is never empty. It is a message, an invitation to imagine motives where none may exist. Commentators debated whether the delay was strategic, a calculated pause designed to let speculation reach its peak before intervention. Marketing analysts noted that even negative attention can generate vast publicity and that fashion houses often thrive on carefully controlled ambiguity. But for fans, this was no abstract case study in branding. To them, Jungkook's quiet was personal, a void that demanded to be filled with meaning. When Jungkook finally spoke, the world listened with breathless anticipation. His statement was direct, almost clinical. The woman was a professional collaborator associated with the brand, and their brief interaction carried no personal significance. He urged the public to resist turning ordinary moments into sensational stories. The words were measured and factual, seemingly designed to extinguish the fire. But in the paradoxical logic of celebrity culture, clarity often breeds new ambiguity. Was the explanation too neat? Too carefully worded? Had Jungkook revealed everything, or only what he wanted the public to hear? Instead of ending speculation, his calm clarification scattered new sparks of curiosity across an audience unwilling to let go. Then, just as the conversation appeared to plateau, Jimin entered the narrative, and with him, a sudden surge of emotion that reignited global attention. In an interview conducted days after Jungkook's statement, Jimin spoke with a quiet intensity that startled even longtime observers. Without mentioning the incident directly, he delivered a message that many interpreted as a deliberate intervention. "Sometimes it's not what we see with our eyes that matters," he said, his voice steady but unmistakably charged. "It's how we trust each other. Everyone needs space to live their life without being constantly judged by speculation." The timing was impossible to ignore. Fans immediately linked Jimin's words to Jungkook's ordeal, reading them as both a gesture of solidarity and a subtle rebuke to those fueling the controversy. But it was Jimin's visible emotion, his eyes glistening, his voice tightening, that shocked audiences most. Known for his composure even in the most intense public settings, Jimin appeared deeply affected, as if speaking not only for his bandmate, but for himself. Why did this moment move him so profoundly? Was he expressing private frustration at the relentless scrutiny BTS members face? Or was there an unspoken truth beneath his words, a hidden layer of meaning that only those closest to the situation could fully understand? Social media erupted with competing interpretations. Some praised Jimin's remarks as a necessary call for empathy and restraint. Others insisted that his tears signaled internal tensions, perhaps even a coded acknowledgement of a reality Jungkook's statement had carefully avoided. Each new clip of Jimin's interview was analyzed in microscopic detail: his pauses, his choice of words, the way his gaze shifted when certain topics were raised. In an environment trained to read between every line, even the smallest inflection became evidence of something larger. Industry observers weighed in with conflicting assessments. Public relations experts applauded the dual strategy, Jungkook providing factual denial, Jimin offering emotional resonance. Together, they shifted the narrative from salacious guessing to a broader conversation about trust, privacy, and the psychological toll of fame. Cultural critics, however, warned that even the most skillful messaging cannot erase the deeper structural forces at play. The incident, they argued, exposed how global audiences have been conditioned to demand both access and authenticity from public figures, an impossible combination that traps artists in a perpetual cycle of performance and intrusion. Meanwhile, the fashion brand at the center of the storm maintained a conspicuous silence, neither confirming nor expanding on Jungkook's explanation. This absence of corporate commentary only sharpened the tension. Was the brand deliberately leveraging the controversy for visibility, or retreating to avoid inflaming a situation already beyond control? Marketing analysts pointed out that a single viral rumor can generate millions of dollars in free publicity. Yet the stakes are higher when the reputation of an artist as globally beloved as Jungkook is involved. Any misstep risks alienating fans whose loyalty forms the foundation of billion-dollar industries. As days turned into weeks, attention gradually shifted from the mysterious woman herself, whose identity remains officially unverified, to the broader implications of the episode. How much privacy can a public figure reasonably expect in an era where every second of their life is documented, shared, and dissected? When does the public's right to know become a violation of personal boundaries? And to what extent do entertainment and fashion conglomerates exploit these gray areas for commercial gain? Each question sharpened the uneasy tension between fans' desire for intimacy and the idol's need for autonomy. Yet, even as thoughtful discussions emerged, the machinery of speculation refused to stop. Every pause in an interview, every candid photograph, every fleeting social media update became fodder for renewed analysis. Some fans scoured flight schedules and event calendars for possible connections between Jungkook and unidentified individuals. Others built elaborate theories around the timing of Jimin's statement, arguing that his emotional appeal was either a carefully coordinated media strategy or an unfiltered outburst of genuine frustration. Each attempt to close the conversation only opened new doors. This relentless cycle of observation and interpretation reveals an uncomfortable truth. In the digital age, the boundary between performance and reality is not merely blurred, it is actively manipulated. Platforms like TikTok, Twitter, and YouTube thrive on speed, not verification. Images can be cropped, videos edited, narratives constructed to fit pre-existing theories. What millions perceive as authentic may in fact be a carefully framed fragment of a much larger, unknowable reality. When a single photograph can generate days of global debate, can any of us claim to be informed rather than merely entertained? Jungkook's composed clarification and Jimin's heartfelt plea will be remembered not only as responses to a fleeting rumor, but as a rare glimpse into the impossible balance BTS members must maintain. They must remain visible yet untouchable, relatable yet private, open enough to satisfy global curiosity yet guarded enough to protect their mental and emotional well-being. Their words, one precise and factual, the other emotional and pleading, illustrate the dual strategy required to survive in a culture where truth is a moving target and every silence invites speculation. The enduring fascination with the mysterious woman may never resolve, not because answers are unavailable, but because the act of wondering has become part of the spectacle itself. If tomorrow an irrefutable statement proved her identity and confirmed the purely professional nature of her presence, would the public move on? Or would it simply invent a new layer of doubt, a fresh angle of suspicion to keep the narrative alive? In a world where ambiguity fuels engagement, the most powerful truth may be the one that remains forever just out of reach. Ultimately, this controversy is not merely about Jungkook, Jimin, or a single unidentified woman. It is a case study in the mechanics of modern celebrity, a cautionary tale about how quickly a fleeting image can transform into a global obsession. It forces us to confront our own role in this spectacle, the clicks, the shares, the endless analyses that feed the very system we claim to question. Are we passive observers of a story beyond our control, or are we the engines that keep it alive? Until we can answer that question with honesty, the mystery will persist, not because it cannot be solved, but because we are not ready to let it go. Jungkook, Jimin, and the unanswered question: is this reality or a manufactured storm? The controversy that began with a single photograph has now reached a point where every observer must confront an uncomfortable question. Do we truly believe that this incident reflects an authentic, verifiable reality? Or are we unknowingly participating in a spectacle engineered to capture attention? The image of Jungkook beside an unidentified woman, the restrained statement he delivered, and the emotional response of Jimin have all been reported, repeated, and analyzed across countless platforms: TikTok, YouTube, Twitter, and a multitude of secondary outlets. Yet despite the appearance of ubiquity, the underlying facts remain fragile. What if everything that has been presented to the public is merely a carefully constructed narrative, designed not to inform but to provoke? How can we, as critical consumers of information, claim certainty when the sources themselves operate in an ecosystem that rewards engagement over accuracy? Consider the origin of this phenomenon. The initial photograph was circulated through social networks that prioritize speed, virality, and emotional reaction above rigorous verification. Is it possible that the image, though technically real, has been stripped of the context required for meaningful understanding? A cropped frame can alter perception. A selectively edited video can create implications that never existed. Have you, as a reader, considered the possibility that what you believe you saw may not represent the full sequence of events? If a narrative can be built from fragments, does the existence of those fragments guarantee the truth of the narrative itself? The statement issued by Jungkook, though seemingly direct, should also be approached with disciplined skepticism. He identified the woman as a professional collaborator and denied any personal connection. But can a denial, even when sincere, extinguish a rumor that thrives on ambiguity? Does the very act of clarification become part of the performance, a calculated move within an industry that understands how attention operates? If silence invites speculation, does speaking inevitably invite reinterpretation? Which is more revealing, the content of Jungkook's words or the timing and manner in which they were delivered? Jimin's emotional intervention raises equally pressing questions. His call for trust and his visible struggle to contain tears have been celebrated as an act of solidarity and compassion. Yet, can we fully separate the personal from the strategic in an environment where every syllable from a global celebrity carries economic weight? Was his emotion entirely spontaneous, or could it have been shaped, consciously or unconsciously, by the awareness that millions were watching? If his words were intended to calm the public, why did they instead deepen the mystery? Does the power of his statement lie not in what it revealed, but in what it left unsaid? Each of these moments, Jungkook's silence, Jungkook's explanation, Jimin's emotional plea, demands not blind acceptance, but careful interrogation. Are we dealing with a linear sequence of cause and effect, or with a choreography of events designed to sustain global attention? When a story refuses to fade despite clarifications, should we question the persistence of public curiosity, or should we question whether the story was ever meant to conclude? If ambiguity generates more engagement than resolution, who benefits from leaving questions unanswered? The role of media platforms cannot be ignored. TikTok rewards brevity and impact, encouraging clips that provoke immediate reaction rather than careful consideration. Twitter accelerates dissemination, allowing speculation to outpace verification by orders of magnitude. YouTube thrives on long-form commentary that transforms fragments into extended narratives, often monetized through advertising. When the very architecture of these platforms incentivizes virality, can any information delivered through them escape the gravitational pull of sensationalism? If algorithms elevate the most provocative content, are we, as consumers, choosing what to believe, or are we being guided toward predetermined conclusions? Reflect on your own engagement with this controversy. Did you feel a surge of excitement when first encountering the image of Jungkook and the unidentified woman? Did you share a video clip, comment on a thread, or discuss the incident with friends before verifying its authenticity? If so, were you motivated by a search for truth, or by the thrill of participating in a collective drama? Does the act of consuming and spreading unverified information make us passive victims of manipulation, or active participants in a cycle that rewards speculation over certainty? The need for critical thinking is not merely academic, it is urgent. Every repost, every comment, every click strengthens the feedback loops that allow unverified stories to dominate global consciousness. When you read an article like this one, do you pause to consider the reliability of its sources? Do you question whether the quotations attributed to Jungkook and Jimin have been independently corroborated? Do you ask whether the journalists reporting on this controversy have direct access to primary evidence, or whether they rely on the same social media fragments that fueled the initial rumor? In an age where information travels faster than verification, skepticism is not cynicism, it is self-defense. Even the existence of this very discussion demands reflection. You are reading a detailed account of an event that remains, at its core, unresolved. The sources are numerous, but not definitive. The details are specific, but not conclusive. Does the sheer volume of words create an illusion of certainty? Does the presence of analysis give the impression of authority even when fundamental questions remain unanswered? Could this article itself be part of the spectacle, providing the engagement that keeps the story alive? If you find yourself compelled to read to the end, is it because you seek clarity, or because the mystery has been expertly designed to hold your attention? To navigate this landscape responsibly, readers must adopt a posture of active investigation. Do not accept the headline because it appears on a trusted platform. Do not mistake emotional resonance for factual accuracy. When a celebrity denies a rumor, ask whether the denial can be verified independently. When an emotional statement invites empathy, ask whether empathy might also serve as a distraction. When social media amplifies a fragment of information, ask who stands to gain from its spread. Every unanswered question is an opportunity to think critically. Every unverified claim is an invitation to pause. The unresolved nature of the Jungkook Jimin controversy is not a failure of journalism alone. It is a reflection of a larger cultural condition. We live in an environment where speed outpaces verification, where engagement eclipses truth, and where ambiguity is more profitable than resolution. Until readers cultivate the discipline to question every narrative, no matter how persuasive, no matter how emotionally charged, the cycle will continue. Are you willing to resist the lure of instant conclusions? Will you demand evidence even when the story entertains you? Or will you, like millions of others, allow the algorithms to decide what you believe? Perhaps the most provocative question is also the simplest. What if nothing extraordinary happened at all? What if the mysterious woman was exactly what Jungkook claimed, a professional collaborator whose presence was entirely mundane? What if Jimin's tears reflected nothing more than frustration with a culture of invasive speculation? Would such a revelation satisfy you? Or would it disappoint you? Does your own desire for drama create the very conditions that sustain these controversies? And if you find yourself hoping that the truth is more complex than the facts suggest, what does that reveal about your relationship to celebrity culture? The power of this incident lies not in what it proves, but in what it exposes. It reveals how quickly a neutral moment can be transformed into a global narrative. It reveals how easily audiences can be drawn into cycles of suspicion and speculation. Most importantly, it reveals how fragile truth has become in a world where attention is the ultimate currency. Whether this event represents reality or a carefully orchestrated illusion may never be known with certainty. But the responsibility to question, to verify, and to resist manipulation belongs to every reader. Will you accept that challenge? Or will you continue to let stories, true or false, decide what you believe? In the end, the photograph, the statements, and the tears are less significant than the reaction they provoke. The real drama unfolds not on the runway or in a recording studio, but within the minds of those who consume the story. The question is not whether Jungkook and Jimin have something to hide, but whether we are willing to confront the possibility that the entire spectacle exists because we demand it. If the mystery were conclusively resolved tomorrow, would we move on? Or would we simply wait for the next image, the next rumor, the next carefully framed moment to fill the void? The answer will reveal not only what we believe about this incident, but who we have become as participants in a world where the boundary between fact and fiction grows thinner with every click.